I just made a video yesterday, and so it's kind of out of order for me to make a video one day after the last one. But I did have these ideas and thoughts in my mind pertaining to the last video, which is speaking about the concept of love and how it applies to spiritual enlightenment. And I really wasn't going to do it because a lot of times these things ferment in my soul, spirit, mind for days or weeks before I put it out there. And you know, you may laugh at this because it's kind of weird, but sometimes I look for different signs to see if I'm on the right track or whatever. And about an hour ago, I say to myself, I'm going to go online and check to see how many views I've got on the last video I made yesterday. And I'm not kidding you. I says to myself, if there's 40 views, how odd is that? I'll make another video tonight, even though I made one yesterday. And so I went online and checked, and yep, 40 views. So I said, well, no getting out of this one. I got to make the video. So there's 3 or 4 concepts I want to cover. One is science fiction and how it applies to you becoming enlightened. And the other concept is, well, I'll just make it up as I go. When I say make it up, that's not true. I'm not making this stuff up. It's what is in my head about the concept. But I'll start right now with the science fiction. So, when you go see a movie and you sit down in the movie house, maybe it's at your own home, but typically it's better if you're at a movie because you got your popcorn and your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever, significant other, and you sit down, you already know the point of being there, and you got to turn your cell phones off and everything else, and you're kind of excited. Whether it's a science fiction or a drama or whatever it is, initially your brain is in a mode where you're going to suspend your critical thinking in regards to what is and isn't real. Because maybe it's time traveling, or maybe it's science fiction flying through the universe, or whatever. Superheroes. Well, your normal brain knows that Superman doesn't exist unless you're delusional. But short of that, you know that these things aren't real. But when you go to the movie, you suspend that part of your mind and you just allow it to be like a sponge, absorbing the plot and the story. And you're really trying to pay attention in the initial part of the movie to figure out the story and the storyline if you don't know much about what it is before you go see it. And so you're watching it, and of course it's fake because, Hollywood created it or some other place in the world. And the story is fiction, but you're not thinking about that at the time. You're just there to be entertained. And if you keep thinking, oh, that can't be real, well, then you're not going to enjoy the movie. So you just absorb it and you get into it. And I suppose, I've never actually done it, but I suppose if you've got those 3D goggles on and like the video games and stuff like that, again, I've never done that, but they have those 3D movies and stuff. Maybe that's a little more along the lines. But anyways, it really helps you to forget yourself and get into it. And you're entertained and you really enjoy it. And you immerse yourself in it. Okay? I'm not going to go anymore because I think I've made myself clear. If you can do that, listening to a fully enlightened guru, if you can do that, then you stand a chance of understanding what enlightenment really is. Then you have a chance of understanding closer to the standing of Jesus, what he saw reality as and how he experienced it, or Buddha and how he saw enlightenment and how he saw reality after he became enlightened, or Krishna, or any number of people that were fully enlightened. There's a possibility you could see from their point of view if you were to allow yourself to be immersed like you would if you were watching a movie. But the problem with it is you never know if a guru is enlightened. Now, this pertains to that, but I'm okay. So I'm groping for a way to put this properly. Let me make this crystal clear. You are probably never going to meet me in life. I don't have a Patreon page where people on YouTube ask for support financially. I don't ask you to subscribe to my videos. Furthermore, I put it out as Billy Kranston, which is no different than any other writer that uses a name. My name isn't Billy Kranston. I just put it out there that way because I'm kind of involved with business in that I created a flow chart and a construction manual how to build a house. And I've also ventured off into time traveling science fiction novel that I wrote several years ago, and I don't want to intermix the different aspects of who I am, because generally people will not take you seriously if you're all over the map, so to say. But I am all over the map, and I am damn good at what I do. I am damn good at being a professional builder. Damn good. Probably better than anyone in the country, damn near, in that my knowledge base of all the phases. I'm damn good at writing science fiction. A good friend of mine, Serena Dory, who writes science fiction up in Oregon, I asked her to help me out one time several years ago, and she said, John, I'm sorry, I can't help you, because what is up there, and you need to put it on paper, so to say. I can't do it for you. You can't tell me the story and have me write it. Can't happen. And she's a professional writer. And I thought, wow, okay, well, I'll teach myself how to write a little better. That's a side note. But my point in saying you're never going to meet me in person is because, first off, you don't even know who I am. I can tell you my name. My name is John Arness. That's my real name. But I go by the name of Billy Kranston on my spiritual videos. And so, since I've got nothing to gain and nothing to lose by presenting my spiritual videos, and I'm not asking for anything, I have no agenda other than the love of God, and I do it because I love God, and I love those that are on the same path that want to become one with God. So I will tell you straight up, absolutely, I'm enlightened. I'm enlightened just like Buddha was. I'm enlightened just like Jesus was. They are different kinds of enlightenment. And those things occurred to me probably, the enlightenment of God occurred probably 16 years ago. And the spiritual enlightenment of like Buddha probably 7 years ago. And which is kind of backwards from what I understand how Buddha went through it. But be that as it may, I am enlightened. But now, when I'm telling you that, if you could possibly not have your ego kick in and go, "Why, that pompous asshole? Who does he think he is?" Or other comments like, "What a prideful piece of shit that guy is, that he's openly saying, well, I'm enlightened," and blah, blah, blah. Who does he think he is? He's not enlightened. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, that would be the same thing as a science fiction movie and Superman, and it's like, well, I'm not going to admit that I'm Superman. Okay, but you just lifted a bus off the ground and threw it a mile through the air. Well, yeah, but I would never admit that I'm Superman. But you are Superman. Yeah, but I can't admit that. Do you see the conundrum that is applied to spirituality? You can't admit it. It's like, well, are you a super good heart surgeon because I need heart surgery? Well, I don't know. Some people say I'm good, but I botched a lot of them. Probably lots of people die when I do heart surgery. Well, are you going to want that person doing heart surgery on you? No, you want some person that says, yeah, I'm the best heart surgeon in the world. There's nobody better than me. I teach heart surgery. I'm the best. That's who you want. You're not going to go to some person that goes, well, I don't know, some people say I'm good, but I don't know. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But why does that apply to spirituality? Well, it does, because this realm is the realm of demons. This realm is the realm of, this earth is the domain of Satan. Or Shiva is the god of this particular world, this realm. And so you want to make it almost impossible to find a fully enlightened being. And if you do find one, well, then they're under some sort of edict that says, well, we can't be the same as everybody else. We have to deny the fact that we're enlightened, and we have to play it down and everything. Bullshit. Fuck you and your edicts, or your whatever you say is what reality is supposed to be. No, I don't play by those same rules. And if you think I do, well, guess what? You're wrong, because I don't. I'm fully enlightened, and I have been for well over a decade. Is it different than not being enlightened? Holy shit, is it different? There's no comparison. There's absolutely... To compare this reality to what it's like to be enlightened, words can't define what it really is. But I will tell you that it's so crazy different, it's unfreaking believable. Okay, with that being said, I explained the aspect of science fiction. Okay, suspend your suspicions. I mean, what in the hell are you afraid of to listen to someone that says they're enlightened? What in the hell are you afraid of? You're already not enlightened. So what what is so scary to listen to someone that says they are enlightened? And then of course you listen to all the idiots out there that will say, well, if somebody says they're enlightened, that's a clear sign they're not enlightened. Okay, well, if you want to believe that, then fine. Listen to people that don't say they're enlightened. And then guess what? You're never going to become enlightened either. Because why would you? That's like saying, well, you want to learn how to be a carpenter. And then you go to a person, well, are you a carpenter? Well, I don't really know anything about carpentry. Well, then why would I want to listen to you if you don't know anything about carpentry? Does this make sense? I mean, really, does this make sense? Okay. This is, I think, the last thing I wanted to cover. I cannot be your guru. Yes, I'm enlightened. Could I help you become enlightened? Absolutely, I could. I did it with my wife. And the reason I did it is because the conflict of being in a marriage, and I've been married for 47 years, being in a marriage and one of the partners is enlightened and the other is not, is like, it's almost impossible. I honestly don't know how it's possible that a marriage can survive when one of the partners is enlightened and the other isn't. It's like, well, it's almost impossible. I mean, like right this minute, I'm in this room making a video, and my wife is talking to my granddaughter downstairs, getting ready to take her to work because she works at a hospital. Not my wife, but my granddaughter. And she allows me this freedom to do these things. Why? Because she knows I'm an enlightened person and I just have to do this. And she knows that. So she supports me in this. If she wasn't enlightened too, she would think I lost my mind. She would, okay, so why can I not be your guru? I will tell you why. To bring my wife from point A to point B, meaning unenlightened to enlightened, it took me about 2 years. And in that 2 years of time, my love for her and her love for me was, I have, my whole life I have tried to develop my love for her and vice versa. She's always loved me more than I wouldn't say more than I loved her, but hers manifested more so than me. Maybe because I'm a man, I don't know. But I've always loved her since we were, kids. We met when we were teenagers. But maybe because I'm a man, it's different, or it's more difficult to show my love or whatever. I'm not entirely sure what is going on there. But fast forward 40 years, trying to help her to become enlightened and how to relate to it, it was a constant process, very difficult. I just talked with her this morning and I said, Helen, how difficult was it for you to become enlightened? Because I helped you for 2 years. And the reason I asked her is because I want to make this video and I want to help you to understand what's going on. So from her perspective, how difficult was it, I said. And she said, and I ride motorcycles, by the way, so she could relate to motorcycles. She says, this is what it was like. It was like, she said, you started the motorcycle, and I don't know how to, she says, I don't know how to ride a motorcycle. So you said, I'm going to teach you how to ride a motorcycle. And you started the motorcycle and you put the throttle on full bore and locked it in position. And then you put me on the motorcycle and then you popped it in gear as I roared off and crashed and broke my arm and my leg and cracked ribs. And then when I got out of the hospital a month later and another month or two of recuperation, you put me on the motorcycle again in the same way, nothing different. And of course I crashed and I hurt myself. And then after about 5 or 6 times of this over the course of a year, she says, I began to question what in the hell you were doing to me, in that I didn't know if you hated me or what was going on. I didn't know, maybe we would get a divorce. She says, I loved you more than anything in the world. You kept saying you loved me, but it didn't seem like it. From my point of view, she said, it didn't seem like it. And it was so intense that sometimes every week or every 2 weeks, it would just be an intense, almost like a fight, like damn near on the verge of divorce and stuff. And it was just tense. And it's like she was crying all the time, and she was thinking maybe there has to be a divorce that takes place. And she was crying and begging for me to stop torturing her and putting her on the motorcycle, so to say, and full throttle and crashing again. And it's like, she's like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't care what the benefits are. I don't want to do this anymore. And it's like, I would say, sweetheart, I started this process. There's no way to stop it now. There's no way to stop it. It's either this or you die or we break up or whatever, but there's no going back now. And from her perspective, or anybody in observation, it would appear like I was a psychopathic, torturing bastard from hell that had not even the slightest hint of love within me to torture her to such a degree. And of course, she thought I was heartless. It's like, I've known you for 40 years, and I've known you to have tremendous empathy and love, and I have children, and I love my children, and I've raised them, and she could not understand why I was being a monster to her. And so this is the story that she related to me just this morning, okay? And I've heard the story before, similar from her, and she was just relating it to me. And I told her, and I've told her this before, and I'm telling you, this is why I can't be your guru. I told her, I said, you will never know. You, Helen, my wife, will never know in this lifetime. You will when this lifetime is over and we can share to the fullest extent the oneness of God. Then you will know the pure agony and torture that I had to endure for 2 years whilst I was seemingly torturing her to become enlightened. The pain in me was so intense, and yet I could not show that I was crying, even though I wanted to cry, and sometimes I did. The intensity was like, I don't know how I can take another day of this. This is so hard because I love her so much, and I could see she was just writhing in pain and suffering and the torture that was taking place. But she did become enlightened. And when she did, she understood the whole process. Now let me stop and go back to when I became enlightened. I've told you this before and I'll tell you again. For 8 years, for me, not 2 years, 8 years, I went through that process. And in 8 years, every day, I didn't think I could last one more day. And yet I had 1,000 more days to go. That is what I went through. Now, you've been taught on your spiritual path from every guru, every book you've ever read. Almost, I assure you that I am correct in this, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but you've heard the stories from gurus and teachers. It ain't true. I'm telling you, it isn't true. But they'll tell you, oh, it's just one level of bliss to another level of bliss, and it's just so wonderful, and then it's nirvana, and then you become enlightened, and it's such a blissful thing. It's all bullshit. You can't take an earthly animal, which is what you are. You can't take an earthly animal and convert them to being a spiritually enlightened being without it. It's like saying, well, here, I'm going to, and I know you've heard this before too, you have to die, you have to kill the ego or whatever. Well, that sounds like, oh, well, that's just a cute little saying. Of course, I don't have no problem killing the ego. Yes, I want to kill the ego so I can become enlightened. Okay, well, let me explain to you what that means and how difficult that really is. That's like saying, oh, well, here, let me help you into the next life. Oh, how are you going to do that? Well, I'm going to kill you. Oh, okay, well, yeah, I want that. Okay, so then I start restricting your air by holding your mouth or something and everything. And then you're fighting and chewing and you're biting at my hand and you're screaming and kicking, and it's like, well, wait a second. I thought you said you wanted to kill the ego so that you could become enlightened. And it's like, well, yeah, but I thought killing the ego was just, like getting rid of this or that. I didn't think you were actually going to choke me to death or cut my oxygen off or hold my head underwater or torture me to death or whatever. Well, okay, well, how about Jesus hanging on a cross? And what were some of his last words? He's hanging on a frickin' cross, and some of his last words are, Father, why have you forsaken me? I mean, here is supposedly the most enlightened person that has ever lived, and this enlightened person is like going, whoa, 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 wait a second, why have you forsaken me, God? I mean, like this thorny crown and these spikes in my hand and feet and everything. This stuff really hurts, man. You see what I'm saying? You can't go from happiness to more happiness to more happiness and to more happiness, and then finally this enlightened thing. Look at the story of Buddha. He frickin' tortured himself for more than a decade out in the jungles trying to find out what enlightenment was and everything. And then finally, out of total exasperation, sat under a damn tree and goes, you know what, bullshit, I am done with this. I am going to sit here and I am going to die because I've had it up to here. I can't take any more of this. I am done. I'm done. And then he became enlightened. Well, it doesn't happen that way. I mean, out of every person that does that, how many people actually become enlightened? Well, not many. Most, I would say, would actually die. Why? Because they don't have the right mental, they don't have the right love, they don't have the right ideas, they're not doing it for the right reasons. And all of these things that I'm talking about are something that an enlightened guru can help you to understand. But you're going to fight that damn guru tooth and nail every step of the way. Because if you say, well, oh yeah, I'm willing to kill the ego, I want to. No, you're not. You just say that because you think that's what you want. You think it's something you can do and it's easy. It is not easy. You can't do it on your own. You can't. You can't. It's too damned hard to do it on your own. You need someone that loves you more than you love yourself to help you through that. That's what you need. And from me, it's too damned hard for me. For my wife, it was torture beyond imagination trying to help her through the process of becoming enlightened. It was so damned hard for me. It was so hard. And she would scream at me, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you sometimes. And I knew she didn't hate me, but she was struggling to get through the process of becoming enlightened. The body, the mind, the spirit, it doesn't want to let go. It doesn't, even though you think you can let go, you can't. You don't want to let go. And for me, it's like I'm dragging and dragging, but I have to do it in such a loving manner. There are gurus out there that have, I don't know if they really do honestly love their spiritual followers, or is it a big show? I just don't know for sure. But there are a few gurus out there that are very popular that appear to love their followers. But here's the problem. They're not ever going to help anyone become enlightened. Why? Because they don't do what's necessary to help those people become enlightened. Otherwise, the love that the guru has for the seeker is going to be challenged to the fullest extent when the time comes. Now, you or most people on this spiritual path, they may be lifetimes away from the actual process of becoming enlightened, or they may be years away from the process, or they may be a month away. Either way, when it happens, it never is easy. Never, 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 never easy. Never easy. I've explained this before, and I'll explain it one more time, and as well as I will probably many times in the future. The God enlightenment thing is a paradox scenario set that takes place. So for instance, you become enlightened, and I just explained that process that where it requires the seeker, meaning my wife or whoever it is, has to have a profound trust and love in the person that is teaching them, and vice versa, okay? So the issue with the God enlightenment, that process is happening not between the guru and the seeker, but between the seeker and the creator God, meaning Brahma, the God that Jesus prayed to. That process where that God is the guru that you are learning from or speaking to, and what takes place becomes so intense. The trials from the seeker's point of view becomes, just like my wife, so intense, you're like screaming, why? Well, I mean, look at Jesus on the cross. Why have you forsaken me? Now, those words when he was saying that are not said in a fashion of I hate you or anything. No. Pure 100% love on the seeker's part, or on Jesus' part when he was speaking those words. Pure love for his Father in heaven. He did not, but the utter frustration of losing 100% the ego, losing 100% your hold on this particular reality to jump over to fully enlightened or God enlightened is so intense that what takes place is in the aspect of God enlightenment. I keep holding my hands out here, but it helps me visualize. I'm sorry. So the seeker here is communicating with God, and this communication is real. It's no different than me saying, well, I'm not going to make a video tonight unless there's been 40 views. Well, the 40 views is not just a roll of the dice. I mean, that's whoever the 40th person was that watched the video tonight was being inspired by Brahma and not by any ether or this or that or whatever. I mean, it had to happen that way. And so that's a communication directly from me to Brahma and vice versa through which one of you happen to be watching, or all of you watching, or whatever the case may be, to encourage me to make this particular video. Well, the same thing happens in God enlightenment. And what happens is the paradox that's set up is the transition is so difficult. And the seeker, meaning you, loves, trusts, has total faith, but yet you're so devastated. You're crying. It's like, I can't take this anymore, but I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop, and yet I can't take this anymore. I don't know what to do, but I'm not going to stop. And you may think you're going directly to hell and going to burn in hell for all eternity. Not that there is a hell, but you know what I mean. And so that's in your mind. And what happens is, in the very last second, what basically takes place is this communication that, well, it's enlightenment. It's God enlightenment. And it's like, it's instantaneous. And not only is it instantaneous, but it never goes away. I mean, I guess if you have brain damage from whatever reason, because you crashed or whatever, but I mean, it never goes away. You go to sleep at night, your dreams are enlightened dreams, your daily exercises, everything you do, and you never forget it. It never goes away. It doesn't diminish. And it's just, but it can't happen without the God, the Creator God, basically having tears in his eyes or her eyes or whatever, and like this particular deity just can't take it anymore. It's just like, I can't see my child suffer another minute like this, and they've gone far enough. I'm going to communicate to them and let them know that I love them, and that's essentially what takes place in God enlightenment. The Creator God lets you know directly, one-on-one, that you are valued, that you are loved, that you are the main subject matter of this particular deity, Creator deity that is above all. And you know it. I mean, it's like there's no indecision, there's no misunderstandings, because the communication that comes directly from Brahma to you isn't in the form of words. It isn't. Words are trying to define what it is, but it isn't words. It's like you can't open a book and read and get it. It can't happen. So again, it happens because of love. It happens because of profound love. It happens because the love that is between Brahma and you, or the love that's between the Guru and you, is so intense and complete that it's what helps draw, it's what, if the seeker is motivated, is powered by love, and the deity or God or the guru is drawing, and this, let's say this empty space in between is, there's push and pull, gravity and magnetism, and that's how you cross the chasm, if you will, to being enlightened. And having one force is not going to accomplish it. You have to have it from both. And again, the reason I said I can't be your guru, I don't think I have it within me to, I just don't think I have it with, I say I love you in my videos, and I really do, but I don't think I could torture you to the extent that I did my wife. I don't think I could torture you to help you kill your ego, to help you. You don't even know what your ego is. I don't care how much you've studied. I don't care how many gurus have taught you what your ego is and what your karma is and all this stuff. I don't care what they said. They're all wrong. I'm telling you they're wrong because you don't know what it is. Your ego is this, you're clutching grip on this particular reality. And you're not going to be able to let go of it any more than you can just sit here and hold your breath until you die. You can't. Because then you'll pass out and you'll wake up, and when you wake up, you're breathing again. And you can do that 100 times if you want. But unless you actually tie a rope around your neck, you're going to wake up every single time. I think I've said enough for tonight. Anyways, you should look for a guru. I've told you before, they don't have to be fully enlightened. If they're knowledgeable, and if they can love you, and you know that they love you, they don't need to be enlightened. I'm telling you this because if you focus your intent, if you focus your attention on Brahma, on Jesus, Krishna, whatever it is that you seem to think is the ultimate God or whatever, and that God is a God of love, it really doesn't matter. Just do that, okay? And then the guru, even though they're not enlightened, will help you. And then it will be triangular, essentially. And it will be between you and God. And it will be you and Vishnu, or you and whatever the case may be. It's between you and that particular deity. And the guru will help you get there. Even though the guru isn't there, you can still get there. Because honestly, I just can't imagine. I just can't imagine how difficult it would be to go through the intensity. I mean, really? Let's play the science fiction game, okay? Let's do that right now. Of course, what I'm going to tell you isn't science fiction, but you have to think it's science fiction so that I'm able to help you to understand the proper process of what it would take for me to help you become enlightened. Okay, here is the way it would go. Now we're going into science fiction mode. But again, this isn't science fiction. This is exactly real, and this is what I would do. But since this is a video, you can just pretend it's science fiction. You might come to me and say, oh, I've been studying for years and years and years, and John, or let's say you call me Billy Kranston or whatever. I really love the videos you make, and it's like you've saved my life, and you're really doing a wonderful job. Thank you. Keep it up, please, please, please. I really appreciate what you're doing. And here, let me get on my knees and kiss your feet and do what you're supposed to do to a fully enlightened guru. And you have the namaste, and you're showing the utmost respect and love and appreciation and everything. And when you come up to me, this is what would really happen if I really was your guru and I had the capacity to love you enough to help you become enlightened. This is what would happen. I would probably listen to you and find out what path you're on and what you're doing, and I would find out who you are and where you were born and what your lifestyle has been, and find out your love and your life and whether you were a criminal or not, and find out your strengths and your weaknesses, and find out your history and what kind of ice cream you like, and all of these things I would find out, and you would be like a little puppy, so happy to be around your guru that's enlightened and loves you. And you'd be just so, you would feel the spirit, and it would just be, well, it would be like a normal guru relationship, you know. And then I would finally get to know you enough, and I would say, I don't think I can teach you anymore. And you go, well, why, great master? Why can't you teach me anymore? And I'd say, because you don't have the capacity. I mean, honestly, I think you're an arrogant piece of shit, and there's nothing I can do with you. I mean, you need to leave, and maybe 10 years from now, if I'm not dead of old age, you can come back and I'll help you become enlightened. But right now, there's just no hope for you. You're a basket case. I hope you don't go commit suicide because of this, but if you're going to commit suicide, you're going to do it. Do whatever you got to do, but I'm done with you. I can't help you. You're too arrogant. You're too stupid. I've told you this, that a dozen times. You can't seem to get it into your head. I just can't help you. And I appreciate it if you'd leave and never come back, actually, because you're an idiot, to be honest with you. You're an absolute idiot. Okay, well, now what are you going to do? What is your reaction to that particular guru at that particular time? Are you going to do what I told you? Are you going to leave and study more and come back in 10 years? Are you going to say, you son of a bitch, I've spent 4 years trying to learn from you, and how dare you treat me that way? Fuck you, you worthless bastard. I wish I'd have never met you. And then now let's go back to reality. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Oh boy. Oh boy. I just get worked up talking about it. I would have to pretend that I'm just a heartless bastard, and but my love for you is the same as God has for you. It is beyond it is beyond your capability to understand what my love is for you. And it is hurting me so badly that you feel that way. that I just can't take it. I can't take it. I can't take another day. I can't take another minute. And it's like I would be praying to God, please release me from this bond. I can't take this anymore. That's how hard it would be for me. But it would appear like I'm a heartless bastard. That's what it takes. That's what it takes to help you become enlightened. That's what it takes to help you become God enlightened. Enlightened is just a stupid ass word. It's just a word. You don't even understand what enlightenment is. It's just a word. Reality is an imagined, it isn't real. This wall isn't real. This physical body isn't real. It isn't electrons. Electrons don't even exist. Nothing exists. It's an imagined reality. You want me to create reality? I've done this before years ago, okay? Here's reality. Picture through your video, picture an orb that I just created. It's green, okay? It's this big and it's weightless. And it has a universe inside of it as big as the universe that exists. And it's green and it's glowing and it's kind of vibrating slowly with different colors emanating from it. And you can see deep inside of it. And if you could see deep inside of it, not only is the orb this size, but it's as big as the universe. And when you look into it, there's no end. It goes to infinity, and you can't see out the other side because it goes for infinity. And yet when you stand back and you see what I'm talking about, you see the entire orb. It's complete. And it's weightless, and now it's floating. You see it in your mind's eye. If you can't see it in your mind's eye, then you've got a long ways to go. And it's just sitting there floating, and it's spinning at a very slow speed in circles right now. Do you see it in your mind's eye? That's the universe. That's the entire universe. And when you look into it, I said you cannot see the other end because it goes for eternity. That is reality. That is what this reality is. That's exactly what it is. From an enlightened point of view, you see the entire thing. You see the circumference of it. You see the fact that it is eternal on the inside, that there is no way to see through it. You can see that. But you can also see the circumference of it that I just created. That's what this reality is. This reality is exactly that. And inside of that orb is you. You're in there. You're in there with all the other several billion people. You're in there with all the infinite number of planets and stars and suns and galaxies. You're in there. But you're also out here. But you don't know you're out here. You think you're in there. And you think that no matter how enlightened you become, you will always be in there. But you're not only not in there, there isn't any there to be there. Because that orb, that essence, was created by the Creator God. That's why He's called the Creator. That's why God is called the Creator. God created that orb. But this orb I just created, and you see it. That's the enlightened point of view of what reality really is. It's not only eternal and goes for infinity, but you see the fact that it's an orb. It's super, super, super hard to help a person experience that. Because I can't do it on my own. It requires the Creator. But an enlightened guru can help you connect with that Creator God and make that connection to where you see the whole field, the entire spectrum. You see it for what it is. You experience it for what it is, not only from the inside, but from the outside. I know that a lot of you people that watch these videos are very, very intelligent. I mean, most people that are into this kind of spiritual stuff are incredibly intelligent people. Otherwise, they would be too busy sweeping floors or doing whatever it is they do to survive. But intelligent people have the time to speculate and think and everything. And in that respect, I'm sure you understand what I'm saying. So you have to have the most profound love that you can possibly imagine for the Guru, vice versa. And you have to have a profound love for the Creator God. One last thing. This is why the concept of spiritual non-duality is so corrosive to enlightenment, because you don't realize in non-duality, all things are one, meaning God, yourself, and everything. And that is true inside that orb. That is true inside that orb. But you're not inside that orb. You're outside the orb. Inside the orb, everything is one. Why? Because everything is one. That's just like me creating the green orb. I created it. Therefore, everything inside of it is one because I created it. Now, just because you might jump inside of it, spiritually speaking, you can be fooled into thinking you are a spirit inside that orb. Therefore, you are one with the orb. But there is no orb. I created it. I imagined it into reality. And you've mistakenly thought that you were a part of that, and therefore non-duality is real. Well, you're never going to escape it if you think that that's real. You're never going to escape it. It's never going to happen. But of course, non-duality or duality or Advaita is so damn difficult for most people to understand, because the concept of Advaita can only be understood by an enlightened individual. It can be understood from an analytical point of view, but it can't be understood properly. And that's why so many people are confused by the concept of Advaita. That's why Adi Shankara misunderstood Advaita. I mean, come on. Adi Shankara died when he was, I think he was, 28 years old or something like that? I'm sorry. Nobody 28 years old has got enough wisdom to understand the full nature of all the Vedas rolled into one single word concept. It's not possible. It's just not possible. Anyways, thank you for watching. I love you. And I hope this video will help you understand a little more about the concept of love and how it pertains to becoming enlightened. Thank you for watching. Bye.